What we are looking at here is the rock box. This we have completed pretty much on September 24th, I believe, 2009, and I'm going to take you around the rock box to see what we actually have here. Starting from the top left, we have a little tiny Iggy Pop. We have Jeff Beck. We have Freddie Mercury, really small, right there. We have Aerosmith. The centerpiece of this is Jimmy Page. There we go, it's a little easier to see. The centerpiece is Jimmy Page with his Les Paul, weaving some magic with his violin bow. Moving on, we see Tony Iommi. Up top here we have a little tiny piece of Rush. Those nice Jewish boys from Canada. Very tiny little Who. Some David Bowie. Some Steven Tyler. Alice Cooper. Jimi Hendrix, obviously. Iggy Pop down here, with some Queen peeking over from the side. Moving right along, we have some Gene Simmons. We move on up and we have Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. Tony Iommi, and off to his right is Ozzy Osbourne. Moving back down, we have Robert Plant prominently. Phil Lynott. Moving on down, we have The Who. And they will scroll on over to the front. And the two faces you see in the front here are David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes of Deep Purple. We'll get to that later. An Eric Clapton sort of melange of the Beano era John Mayall's Blues Breakers, and to the left of Eric's Mush is Cream. Down on the bottom left-hand corner we have a little bit of Mick and a little bit of Woody. And up here we have little tiny Gary Moore from Thin Lizzy and some Richie Blackmore from Deep Purple, and scooching over the side a little bit of Ronnie Dio. Moving to the front we have Angus Young sitting on Bon Scott, and in the bottom left hand corner we have some Debbie Harry. Moving to your right there's a little bit more of Led Zeppelin, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. Then there's The Who, which we discussed before. Randy Rhoads in one of his Jackson guitars. Jimi Hendrix in the center. Down low in front of Jimi Hendrix we have the Rolling Stones circa Between the Buttons around 1967. Moving right along to the right we have Phil Lynott and Scott Gorham of Thin Lizzy. Above them Mark Bolan and David Bowie and Angus Young, and again Hendrix on the left of them. A little bit of Brian May from Queen, a little more Bowie. In here we have, above Blackmore, we have the Yardbirds with Jeff Beck. Richie Blackmore again, Rainbow era with Dio. Moving on to this side, we have the incredibly rare picture of Montrose live with Sammy Hagar on the left wearing the white pants and Ronnie Montrose holding up his Les Paul in the air. Below that we have Ziggy era, or Aladdin Sane era, David Bowie and Michael Schenker. Moving up here we have Matthias Jobs of the Scorpions next to Lemmy Kilmister of Motorhead. Above that Jimmy Page again with the Les Paul. The Scorpions below the neck of the Les Paul. Mark Bolan of T-Rex. And Brian Robertson and Scott Gorham of Thin Lizzy in the upper right hand corner, and straddling the edge we have a little Freddie Mercury there wearing his crown. Now to the back we have Lita Ford, and next to Lita Ford we have the Stones and the Rock and Roll Circus, one of the last performances with Brian Jones. Moving on past that we have Dave Murray and Adrian Smith of Iron Maiden, Bon Scott again, David Bowie again, little tiny Queen 2 album cover. Moving down we have the guy from MC5, Little Nicky Six, some Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Joan Jett, David Lee Roth of Van Halen, Deep Purple Mark II, Steve Harris from Iron Maiden, Rush, Jeff Beck to the right of Rush, little Keith Richard there, Joe Perry straddling the hinge on the box, a little bit of Queensryche, DeGarmo and Tate, Rob Halford, Brian May on the left, John Sykes between Ronnie Dio's devil horns and his face. Coming around the last side, we have Phil Lynott again. And the Dio we saw from before. We have this picture of Kiss live. Gary Moore, Bruce Dickinson, and Keith Richards behind him. Tony Iommi in the corner in the bottom right. Jakey Lee below him. Ann and Nancy Wilson between Bruce Dickinson's legs, just where he'd want them. Little tiny picture of Rob Halford next to Glenn Tipton and KK Downing from Judas Priest. Diamond Dogs Bowie. Pat Benatar right between Phil Lynott's legs, right where he'd want her. And I believe that covers it. This is our rock box. And you open it, and you can put stuff inside. Kind of cool, huh? I'd like to thank Fran and Howard for the box. We've turned it into something even better than it was when we received it, but it's a great box, and we've been using it anyway. And now it's a piece of art.